Okay, we have Kylie Minogue coming up now. Wouldn't change a thing.
That was some music from Kylie from her early years, okay? I Should Be So Lucky was her first UK #1. It was actually famously written in approximately an hour while she waited in reception because, and there's some confusion about the story, to be honest, because there's various versions of the story if people look carefully enough. But they basically, the songwriters who agreed to write for her said that they'd completely forgotten she was turning up. They didn't know who she was. At the time, she was a famous soap actress from Australia who appeared in an Australian soap, which was shown over here. But the songwriters said that because they were so busy working all day writing songs for many people, they genuinely hadn't got a clue who she was because they hadn't got the time to watch the television themselves. So her name didn't mean anything to them, and they'd forgotten all about her. And one of the songwriters didn't want to let her down, so they told her to wait in reception while they wrote the song in an hour, and then she performed it and then went back to Australia. After the song was released, the record companies didn't want to release it. They didn't think at the time she was famous enough, or that the song would do well enough, or they didn't like her singing, or whatever. But for whatever reason, the major record labels would not release the song. Therefore, the record producers set up their own, that wrote the song, set up their own company called PWL, specially to release it, and other music that they'd written. Okay, but it was the first, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe it was the first PWL single release. because no other record company would release it. It went straight to #1 in Britain, making the record companies that wouldn't release it look really, really, really stupid. She had released a song before then, but not many people in Britain are aware of it. The first single she ever released, and this will shock most in the UK because they genuinely won't know this, was in fact The Locomotion. Yes, that may surprise people in the UK because they think, well, just a minute, that was I think her third song in Britain, but it actually was released first in Australia, but it wasn't the Stock Aitken and Waterman version. Now, The Locomotion was a song originally recorded by Little Eva, I believe in the 60s, and she did a cover version of it for the Australian market. But nobody in Britain had ever heard this version. Later, after she'd released I Should Be So Lucky and Got to Be Certain, I believe that her next single was The Locomotion, but this time it was a Stock Aitken and Waterman produced version rather than the version that she released initially in Australia. Now, most people didn't actually think very highly of Kylie. Most of the critics weren't impressed. They thought, yeah, she's just going to be another here today, gone tomorrow star. She was known as an actress, not as a singer. People thought she might have about 2 or 3 songs maybe, and then disappear, like many other people did at the time. Quite the opposite. Her lasting power is astonishing, considering I remember a long time ago when she first started releasing songs on her first album, and I believe I can't remember why I was having this discussion. I was having this discussion at school, and I can't remember why at the time. And someone at school was talking about the Beatles versus Kylie, and to be fair, their views were probably pretty commonplace at the time, and nobody would have believed any otherwise at the time, in fairness. And she said, the person I was talking to said, I'll call her girl/woman. I think she was about 17 at the time, because I was in the 6th form, okay? And the discussion was, nobody will be listening to Kylie in 20 years' time, but people are still listening to the Beatles, and that was her argument. She believed that, she saw that 20 years later, people were still listening to the Beatles, 20 years after they released their music. But she believed that somebody like Kylie, and she mentioned Kylie specifically, would not be listened to in 20 years' time. I don't know why I remember that conversation, I just remember that statement, and I don't know why I remember it. I don't even remember the name of the person I was talking to, but I remember the statement that they said. And they turned out to be completely wrong. So, who is Kylie, and what is this about? Well, Kylie was famous mostly as an actress for appearing in Neighbours, the soap. Okay? She played the role in the soap of a female garage mechanic. No, I'm not making this up, I'm deadly serious. And in the soap, she married somebody called Scott in the soap. In real life was Jason Donovan. In real life they were also dating each other, but kept it quiet at the time and revealed the truth later. Okay? For some reason they talked about going into a travel lodge to do the deed. I won't say any more, right? In real life. But then, I don't know, she dumped him and went out with a rock star who killed himself. It's rather weird. I won't go into too much of her private life because it's not relevant. I don't think he killed himself over her, but that's another matter. I think he just started to spend too much money and then started to run out of money and panicked, but that's another matter. And anyway, So what's this got? What am I talking about? Well, Kylie on Friday became the first female artist ever in Britain to have a #1 album in 5 consecutive decades. She is the first female artist to achieve this in Britain, even though she's not even British. Okay, this is exceptional, really, for anybody to have this much success commercially in the British pop world, because usually most stars last for about 3 or 4 years and they disappear. Even if they become household names, they stop after about a few years. People stop buying their records and then they go touring, continually playing their greatest hits. Very few people over here have a long-term recording career, because usually, you know, the people's tastes change, they don't move with the times. People want the latest youngest people, and Kylie and Madonna are two of the very rare exceptions to this, who've managed to reinvent themselves and for some reason last much longer than most people thought they would. Possibly, if they're honest, even themselves. As I said, back in the past, Kylie was not highly regarded as a singer by the critics. If you had told them that she would be the one who would achieve this feat back in the 80s, people would have laughed their heads off, because they would have thought other more respected singers who were more respected artistically or for their singing voice would have done better. But no, it is in fact Kylie who has achieved this. Okay, it is an astonishing achievement in Britain, as I said, because most people do not last that long. So well done, Kylie. Thanks for the entertainment, thanks for the music, and I'll be honest, I'll come clean, okay? I personally have listened to a lot of her music over the years. I myself consider myself a fan. I mean, I will be honest, I haven't been to her concerts, but I've not been to anybody's concerts, if I'm being, well, that's not quite true. I've not been to anybody's actual concerts. I once went to, about, a couple of years ago, I went to the Godiva Festival, where there were lots of people performing at the festival, but it wasn't their specific concert. It wasn't a concert just about them, you know. And so I've never been to a real concert, you know, in, you know, like at the I don't know, like at the O2 or Wembley Stadium or anything like that. I just never have, truthfully. For whatever reason, I just never got round to it, and I intended to, but I never quite got round to it. But anyway, so there you go. But I have bought, over the years, I've bought her music, I've bought quite a lot of her albums, her DVDs, and things like that over the years, you know, since the 80s. She's produced a lot of albums, okay? And so I consider myself a fan. I wouldn't say she's got the best voice, I wouldn't say she's the most talented artistically or in any way, but I just happen to like a lot of the songs that she's released, if I'm being honest. Okay, so well done, Kylie, congratulations. Now I'm going to show you me congratulating her on Twitter. Then I will play, if YouTube doesn't stop me doing this, some of the music from her latest album, which went to #1 on Friday. Okay? Thanks for watching. Bye. But stay watching, okay?
Official Charts Company, thank